Narayana Murthy once said that growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying where you don't belong. Welcome to McBain Moments. Okay, before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Please take a moment and subscribe by hitting the button in the corner. Oh, actually, it's going to be over here. We're on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time. So please make sure you subscribe, and thank you for your support. And also, if you've been here a while, please consider going to McBainmanor.com/donate and consider giving a small donation. Anything helps. It helps offset the cost of the website and the cost of producing these videos. So I really appreciate any support you can give. Okay, change. Change is painful. But things change all the time. The only thing that's certain in this life is change. It's the only thing that stays the same. That's a grand irony. But what it comes down to is you're going to come to places in your life where you hit a plateau. And what this is it's the end of a skill set, or it's the end of a level of skill, or it's the end of where you can go in a certain career path, or in a job, or in a hobby. And at some point, you're going to have to make a decision. And the decision is going to have to be, do I stay where I am and accept this as being the top? Or do I find out what I need to change in order to start climbing again? And this isn't always an easy question to answer. It really isn't, because sometimes in order to change, you have to let go of things that you already have. Sometimes you have to move. I ended up having to move 2,000 miles to change a career. I didn't even know I was going to change a career. I thought I was just changing my perspective. You may have to let go of old friends who try to hold you back. You may have to look at the things that you do, give up habits that you have, in order to make sure you're continuing along the path toward whatever final goal you have, that grand quest we always talk about. You may have to change something in order to make sure you're continuing on that path. If you can't change your fate, change your attitude. And that was Charles Reeveson. Yes, Reeveson. I have it in a notebook that's just behind my microphone. Dead giveaway that I've got my own quote-unquote teleprompter, but you all know that I take notes and look at them. To a certain extent, there are things we can't control. And these are things we just have to accept. But it's how we accept them, or don't accept them, that determines where we go from there. When you run into an obstacle, you have a couple of choices. You can find a way through it, or around it, or over it, or under it. Or if the obstacle is insurmountable, like if you're in the woods and you run across a fallen tree, you're going to be able to get around it somehow. You can either climb over it, or you can duck under it, or you can go around it, or you can take a chainsaw to it, right? There's always a way around a tree. It's a lot harder to find a way around a mile-wide river, especially if there's no bridge. So you change your direction. In business, this is called realignment. But in any case, you realign, you change how you look at things. It's like, okay, I have met this immovable object. I am the unstoppable force, but I have met an immovable object. So what happens when the unstoppable force hits an immovable object? Well, in most cases, most people see this as a clash of the titans, but in reality, the unstoppable force is like a hurricane, or like the wind, or like water. When water hits an immovable object, the water changes direction, and it flows in a different way. So like when a tsunami comes over the coastline, and then it hits a wall specifically designed to stop a tsunami, or like in Japan where they have the giant canals, the water flows into the canals and goes down them rather than flowing over the beaches. And oftentimes it's not enough to stop a full tsunami all the time, but just for the sake of the metaphor, if you think about these giant waves, even if it's not a tsunami, let's just say it's a gigantic wave that hits the beach, but it flows into the canal. The water shapes itself to keep moving. Now, does this mean you need to accept every circumstance that runs up against you without fighting? Absolutely not. No. That's accepting terrible circumstance when you can always have better. But it means that you have to look at the circumstance and make the decision. Is this the hill I want to die on? Is this, so to speak? Please don't go dying on hills. That's bad. Is this where I want to stop? What can I do to keep moving? What gets me closer to the grand quest? If I can't move east anymore, can I move north? Will that still bring me closer to the goal? Can I move south? If I'm moving forward, what do I need to do to prevent myself from having to move back? And sometimes you're going to have to take that step back. But anytime you take a step back, it should only be for a short interval, and it should always be in a way that moves you to a place where you can move forward again. Never, ever, ever accept backward movement as the standard. And never allow yourself to stop. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. It's just the way it is. Carol Burnett once said, "Only I can change my life. No one can change it for me." And nothing in life is truer. Only you can decide where you're going. Only you can decide what's going to stop you. And only you can decide what you're willing to change in order to get there. I would encourage each of you to take a look at everything you're doing and decide, is this where I want to be? And if the answer is no, what do I need to change to take one more step forward? Not to change everything, because that's too much at once. To take one more step forward. Go forth and do so. And tell me in the comments what you did. Don't forget to subscribe. This has been a McBain moment.